Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Divorce Coach Diaries. So today I want to talk about doing the next right thing and zooming in when everything feels too big. So sometimes everything just feels like too much, too many decisions, too many what ifs, too many ways that everything feels like it could go wrong. So it was just about 6 years ago to the week that the movie Frozen 2 came out. And I remember being in the theater with my three little kids and watching this movie with them and hearing Princess Anna sing the song, The Next Right Thing. And this was during one of the most challenging times of my life. And I felt like I was worried all the time. I was stressed, I was overwhelmed, and everything just felt so big that I was paralyzed. I felt like I couldn't make any decisions. I didn't know what the right thing was to do. Or even if I did know what the right thing was, I was too afraid to do it. And it felt like there were so many things that could just go horribly wrong if I made any decision at all. And hearing her sing that song, I was barely holding it together. And I just remember this so clearly. And for whatever reason, that was exactly what I needed to hear in that time at that point in my life. And that became my new motto. And every time I thought to myself, I don't know what to do, or it's too scary, or it's too much, I was able to bring myself back and say, okay, what's the next right thing? So, this is what I want to talk to you about today. And if you are in a season of divorce or transition, overwhelm often can become our default setting. And overwhelm feels terrible and it keeps us stuck. So, I want to talk about how to zoom in and how to take the next right step instead of trying to figure it all out ahead of time. Because, spoiler alert, that's not possible. So, why do we overwhelm ourselves? What is happening inside of us? We're trying to solve the entire future in one sitting. This is a way that I like to look at it. It's like we're trying to do a 500-piece puzzle with only 15 pieces. We can't do it. And if you think about that literally, it's too overwhelming. We're like, well, I don't know where everything goes, but I should know where it goes. And how am I going to solve this puzzle? It's impossible. And of course, it is. We can't solve for what we don't know. But there is a lot that we do know that we're often not paying attention to. So we think we need the perfect plan before we can take any action at all. And this just isn't true. We catastrophize and we think and we tell ourselves if I make the wrong choice, everything will be ruined forever. And when we think a thought like that, we become paralyzed emotionally and we don't do anything at all because we're so terrified of making the wrong choice. So we also might compare ourselves to other people who seem like they're further ahead. And we think, well, I'm never going to get there. I might as well just not do anything until I'm sure I can have the same outcome as them. It's just not possible. We also try to control outcomes instead of just deciding what we think we should do next. We can't control anything outside of us. I know it's terrible. It's terrible news. I wish we could control so much more than we can, but it's just not possible. So here's where I want to suggest to you that you practice zooming in. When everything outside of you feels so chaotic and it all starts to mush together, just become one big, blurry, chaotic mess, zooming in creates just a little bit of clarity for us. We don't need to know the map of the next 5 years. I know it feels like it would be so much easier if we did, but it's just an impossible desire. So, zooming in reduces our emotional load and it creates momentum. Getting moving from a standstill is the hardest part. Once we show ourselves that it was safe enough to make one step, it's so much easier to take one more step and one more step after that. So, zooming in and deciding what we want our first step to be is the hardest part. And you might be asking yourself, well, I don't even know what the next right thing even is, or what does that even mean? Here's what it's not. It's not the perfect thing. It's not the final thing. It's not the thing that's going to even guarantee a certain outcome. The next right thing for you is simply something that you can be proud of, that aligns with your values, that is respectful to you and to people around you, that aligns with your healing or contributes to it and creates a little bit of clarity. It's just a step that moves you just a little bit from stuck into slightly more grounded. So, how do you identify your next right thing? If you think, okay, great, I want to do the next right thing, but what even is that? So, here is an example of something that I talk to clients about a lot. Sometimes we're at the very beginning of a divorce process, and you've decided, yes, getting divorced is the right thing for me and for my family. But what do I do first? Sometimes even just find a lawyer feels so overwhelming. So maybe the next right thing for you to do is to simply get on Google and Google family law attorneys and your zip code. And once we've done that, maybe the next step after that is to click on the 5 websites that come up at the top of the page. And maybe when we like what we read in 3 of those websites, we might make 3 calls and see if we can set up consultations. Or maybe for you, it's getting on a community Facebook page and searching divorce attorneys and see who is recommended. And if there's a name that comes up more than a couple of times, maybe you want to call that person and set up a consult. So, this is what I mean by breaking it down into very small, zoomed in actions. You can also ask yourself when you're trying to identify what the next right thing is, what would I do if I wasn't scared? This, my friends, is a really powerful question and one that has a lot of really surprising answers. And it doesn't mean that you have to act on that right away. It's just really enlightening to notice what comes up for you when you ask yourself that question. What would I do if I wasn't scared? Something else you can ask yourself to get some clarity on what the next right thing is What would future me be relieved if I did today? Because sometimes when we're overwhelmed, we make it so much worse for ourselves by not doing anything at all. Because I know, I'm sure you've had an experience like this where even simply something like cleaning out that certain closet or that space in your house, it just feels like it hangs over you and you don't do it and you don't do it and you don't do it and you don't do it. And then we finally do it and it takes like 15 minutes. So ask yourself this question: what would future me be relieved that I did today? And just see what comes up. And maybe that is making one phone call that you've been really wanting to make. Maybe it's sending one email. Maybe it's even not engaging with somebody who is trying to engage with you. Maybe that's the next right step, that your future self would be so relieved and also proud that you did. And it takes one more little bit of weight off of you when you do that thing. Once you take that step, how do you know if you're on the right track? You might feel a little bit calmer after you take that step. You might feel a little bit relieved. You might feel a little bit more empowered or in control of what you can control. Maybe your shoulders are able to relax just a little bit. Maybe you're spiraling a little bit less. You're moving instead. And here's what I want to offer to you as well. Sometimes taking the next right step feels kind of terrible. And often we think, if I'm doing the right thing, I'm going to feel good. Life is so much more complex than that. And sometimes the right thing is really hard to do. It's hard to move toward, but practice trusting yourself and trusting your intuition, that as you take these steps, that you will know if you are on the right track for you or if you want to pivot and move in a different direction. So what do you do if you really can't figure out what the next right step is? If this is something that you are really struggling with right now, come and find me, book a free session, and let's talk it through and come up with a plan, even just a small, simple, actionable plan that decides the next few right steps for you. I promise you, there is no unsolvable problems. Everything is figure outable. And I can help you with this. So come and find me, megthedivorcecoach.com/free coaching, and book a session with me. I help people for free on Tuesdays. I can help you figure out what the next right step is for you. So, my friends, have a wonderful week. I will talk to you next time.